can have less stress, make more money, do the work you love, all of it. But part of it is just starting off trusting the process. Just saying, look, we've done this over 28,000 companies. Just trust the process.
We are here today with my friend and certified EOS implementer, Mr. Charlton Keultjes. We've known each other several years, and I watched your journey into the EOS community in that world. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But tell me, if you were talking today to your 20-year-old Charlton, what would you
Hmm.
tell him? What advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
If I boiled it down, two things. Hire a coach as fast as you can. I know you feel like you can't afford it, but you will make so much more money, so much more success. Your life will be better. You'll have lower stress, more fulfillment, do more of the work you love faster. That's
Great. That's great advice for 20-year-old Charlton. All right, but so stay there. Stay there. What is that love? You've obviously had a bit of a aha where your coach helped you figure out this is the work you love. This is what you're called to do. Tell the audience, what is it you do?
yeah. So I'm an EOS implementer, and I help companies clarify, simplify, and achieve their vision. So basically, get whatever they want from their business. Eliminate all that frustration that they have running a business, being frustrated, feeling like they've done everything and they can't get what they want. And so I've been there, and through EOS, I've realized that it doesn't have to be as hard as we make it. And leading a company doesn't have to mean that you work 60, 80 hours a week, you're super stressed. Because usually we justify that, like, oh, we're here, we're leading this company, and so it just has to suck, and that's why I get paid the big bucks. And so I help companies to actually find some sense of balance in the world and realize that it doesn't have to be that way, and they can have greater success, better results, less stress because of it.
That seems like very, very rewarding work. How long you been doing it?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. Okay. And before you became an implementer, what did you do?
Yeah, before becoming an implementer, I ran the majority of that time was just running a 100 employee manufacturer for about a decade. Uh, Went there to replace a longtime CFO, and quickly realized that I'm not very good at finance, so became operational and strategic. Ended up being the CEO, and there were 2 years back to back that we had the best 2 years in the 75-year history of the company.
Nice.
The next January, I said after that second one, something needs to change, otherwise I'm leaving, because I feel like I've hit the ceiling. I'm frustrated. It just didn't feel fun. We ended up finding EOS and implementing it over the next 2 years. We doubled the value of the business and sold to private equity for 10x, 20% EBITDA. And
So
then after that, I hired a coach. So right, full circle back to this. I hired a
yeah,
coach to figure out what am I going to do now that I'm grown up. And what I found that I loved over that time was really coaching the owners and leadership team to see a potential they didn't know existed, and then help them get there.
yeah.
And so I lived the burnout and the making more and more money, having more and more, from external point of view, professional success.
Success. Yeah.
And on the inside, I had crumbled. I actually had, there was, I probably haven't told that many people this, two times over 2 years, I had a cough for about 3 months and I wasn't sick. And it was just tightness here from, you know, being on the hamster wheel and running faster and faster. And so, with the help of a coach, I figured out that I would jump off the wheel, right? Stop climbing the mountain that doesn't exist,
Mhm.
and start helping other people realize the same thing that I realized, that it doesn't have to be so hard.
You ever find the book called The Body Keeps the Score?
No, I haven't, but I say often
You
that
lived it, right? You lived it.
yeah, right. I often say the appearances matter because the body's honest, and so right. Oftentimes, I think we kind of get wrapped up in, I don't want to be healthy and fit because of vanity, and it doesn't have to be because of vanity, but the body's honest,
We
so I want
go.
to listen to it.
Um, so it sounds like that journey with the business you were running, um, is that what makes you feel inspired in the work that you do? I mean, you guys obviously found something in EOS that you realized that could help other leadership teams do this and give you a framework for that. What was your, is that your inspiration?
Yeah, it's a combination of um, really with my coach. We did a ton of digging into what were the key moments in my life, the key people in my life, the turning points. Really dug into my strengths, who I am, who I want to be, and it was kind of like the combination of all of that stuff that then we used that as a filter for, okay, well, what is it that you want to do? And I said what, but it's like it's the why, right? It's the why, and then
Yes.
there's the
Yes.
what that could be all sorts of things behind that. And so yeah, if I take my top three strengths from a Clifton strengths perspective, it's learner. So I love learning. I mean, I just gobble it up. I love connecting with people. Typically, one on one is like gold for me. Of course, I'm working with teams, um, so I like that too.
Yeah.
But then, so learning, connecting with people, and then solving problems. So I love learning, connecting with people, and then sharing that information that I've learned to help people solve their problems.
Yes.
And this is it. I mean, I just basically go out and learn all sorts of stuff. Of course, there's the specifics of EOS, but there's all of this other stuff, and then all of the learnings from every client, and then just like a spiral that I just keep circling that back to all of those clients. That then they take the learnings from the other clients, apply them, and they learn something else, and I learn something else, and it's a snowball that's unstoppable.
Awesome. So EOS is such a great tool for accelerating the value of a business. You got to live that from the CEO seat, and you saw what it did for the business you were leading, and what that led to for the shareholders in terms of outstanding exit. Do you see your clients leveraging EOS to really look at value acceleration? Certainly, not everybody that comes to you and wants to implement is does so from a perspective of, hey, I want to sell this business, but
Right.
some do. So what do you, how are you seeing clients leverage EOS?
EOS isn't a revenue or profit growth program specifically,
Right?
but it's the simple thing. So everything worth having in life is simple, right? Building a relationship, building a great company, learning a language, learning a musical instrument, growing your faith, building your health, fitness. There are others. All of the things to get those are utterly uncomplicated. It's simple. The hard part is doing that simple thing that becomes boring over and over and over and over and over. It's that boring thing. We're constantly sold the quick fix and the magic pill and all that stuff that doesn't exist. Get jacked in 10 weeks. Learn Spanish in 2 months. Learn piano in a week. Triple your sales of your business in 3 months. And this it doesn't exist because it takes time. And so it's hard to do those things. It takes accountability and willpower, which is why we hire piano instructors, personal trainers, and business coaches
Right?
to keep us accountable to do the thing that's not that complicated. So EOS is the just go do push-ups, pull-ups, and run 4 times a week, and there's no way you won't get in better shape. If you sit down at the piano, and I learned piano last year, so I can attest to this. If you sit down at the piano an hour a day for a year, you have to get better. It's impossible that you won't. And so EOS is that thing for business. If you do these things, the value has to grow, because it's impossible that it wouldn't, because this is the simple thing. So I will tell this to my clients and prospects that, again, it's not a sales or revenue specific generation program. But if at a leadership team and then the rest of the company, you're aligned on what the most important things are, you agree on what the most important things are, you hold yourselves accountable to it, and so you do that through empowering people, being accountable yourselves, having the right people surrounding you, all wanting to go in the same direction. You have tools of accountability. You're tracking the right things that make sure that you're doing those most important things. It's impossible not to add value. It's impossible not to grow, because nobody is really ever planning to say, oh yeah, in 3 years we want to be just the same.
Tell us some of your favorite client success stories. How you seen people who are willing to commit to the grind, right? And are willing
Yeah.
to just say, like in my experience, helping or coaching high school basketball, and kids want to grab a basketball and run to the 3-point line and play Steph Curry. I'm the guy dragging them into within 5 feet of the basket for them shooting, right? How are you
Right.
seeing how are you seeing clients leverage what are some of your success stories with clients leveraging the simple but hard to just stay there and do the simple right thing all the time?
Yeah. One story that jumps out to me specifically is a client that came to me the day after Christmas 2023. I talked to him on the phone. Just things are bad. Financially, it's bad. We had some bad things happen with one of our leaders. We're in a really bad place. I need help. So we started 2 weeks after that, in January of 24. The words might have come out of his mouth. I feel like we're on the verge of bankruptcy. And so we met. The team was pretty small. They were down,
Sure.
and they just stuck to trusting the process. We had a lot of really tough conversations. There were probably some tears in several
I bet.
of our meetings, and so they started to grow. Had some really good success. The middle of last year, we were in a quarterly meeting and still kind of stuck on the financial side. And so we really pushed on that. Actually had a theme for the quarter that was financial security. Okay, so we framed all of our rocks being our most important things that we need to do for the quarter, around that. Does it help us get to financial security? And that quarter was just huge. They ended up finding $200,000 to $300,000 of annual savings for at the time, a $6 million revenue business.
Well,
Consolidated some locations, and fast forward to a year later after that. So their last quarterly here, through the midway through 2025, they're wildly profitable, and it's just amazing. And so all along the way, they've been building the team, getting the right people in the right seats, just trusting the tools. And so I had it written down in my notes somewhere during one of their sessions. They're like, "This is just proof this works." And so that one is just a great one, because it seems so dramatic.
simple and easy are two different things, right?
Yeah, and a lot of times it's because of the willpower, right? It's because it just is. It can be boring. Now there's also, like, it's simple to say, "Hey Andrew, I don't think you're the right fit for this company." That's pretty simple. That doesn't need to be done over and over with you, right? But most of my clients are really good people. I mean, maybe all of them are really good people. So they care about people, And so there's a delicate balance that we've not really been taught, I feel like as a society and business, how to have those conversations in a loving way, right? So in EOS, we say a lot, put the love in it.
Mhm.
And it's just that I can love this person that's been working for us for 20 years and set them free to do something greater with their life. Because, I mean, let's be honest, most times when I have a client that has a really tough people issue and they finally make the decision to let that person go, 6 months later they hear from that person, oh my gosh, they're so much happier than they've ever been. They're spending more time with their family. They've got a job they love. I'm like, it's the same story over and over.
Okay. Have you ever read anything by, there's a pastor from Minneapolis named John Piper. You ever read any of his stuff?
No.
So he wrote a book that included this idea of, um, in our culture, in American culture today, we think that to love someone is to always make a big deal of them,
Mm,
right? But to love someone is to always do what's best for them. Okay.
okay.
So when our children are little, we might smack their hand when they're trying to put a knife in the light socket, but in the moment, we are loving them. Okay.
Right.
We teach them not to run into the street, not to restrict their freedoms, but because we want them to stay alive. And in that moment, we're loving them. But those conversations get more complex as adults. And plus, not everybody makes the phone call that says, "Hey, my life is so much better after you help me realize I
Right.
need to find a different seat." Yeah.
Well, and it's also possible that it won't be. I actually had a client last Friday that they said she'll never, the person that they let go, don't she'll never make as much money as she made with us. Now there's a lot of assumptions probably there, but it could be true, and we can't own all of those results for everyone. We can't be responsible for everybody's lives.
We also can't define our definition of success to financial measures,
That's
right?
right. They might be happier, right?
Yeah. So people engage me to help them sell their companies. And as I'm talking to them throughout that process, one of the things that I see is many of them don't have a purpose outside the business. They don't have a vision for who they are and what they're going to do next that is bigger and greater than the business they're presently leading. Um, where do you see that happening in your work, and how does EOS create that emotional freedom for them to realize, you know what, there's more to me than being owner or CEO or president of XYZ Corp?
Yeah, you certainly see a lot of owners that this is their whole life. So I might take actually a little bit of a different spin on this. Within EOS, we talk about the core focus of the business. So a piece of that is what's your purpose, cause, or passion. Typically, that visionary founder loves people. They are such a people person, and they care about those people so much. Right? They're the ones that are having a hard time letting the people go. So there's a bit of that, like actually defining this is what the business. There's actually a lot of purpose in this. It's not just to make money. Um, the other thing that actually might be more kind of the other direction is that sometimes they people feel like they have to sell because it's just what the world tells them they have to do. But what they really love doing, their purpose really is being there and making the lives of these people so much better. And they
Yes.
feel like they have to sell. Now maybe they want to cash out a little bit, and there are of course ways that you know much better than I do where they could take some chips off the table and still have that purpose, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
And also, I think there's kind of maybe to actually answer your question, what are the ways through this process we help give them that some balance to figure this out?
Yeah.
Is our society basically says working is doing, it's doing stuff, it's being there, clocking in, and I have a lot of conversations with my visionaries that this can look however you want, right? Your value is not doing stuff. Your value is up here, and that's never turned off. So you in one way you're never not working, and which doesn't mean that you're clocking in, doing a bunch of stuff. And so this can look any way you want it to look. It could look like you're in the office 10 hours a week. And through implementing EOS and getting these tools of accountability and tracking the right numbers and making sure we're all on the same page and people are empowered, you don't have to be doing all of the work, which then provides this space to then say, oh, I've actually always wanted to do this other thing too.
Yes.
I've always wanted, whether it's volunteer at my church or I've wanted to, whatever it is. And now there's now some space for that, which then maybe, turns into the thing they want to put more time into later. Maybe, oh yeah, actually I could imagine now actually selling or handing this off to the next generation or whatever it may be, and playing a different role because now I can actually see that there's something outside of this.
Mhm. That's rewarding to give people that kind of freedom, right? So in that vein, what's the in the past several years, and you've been doing this work, what's the best tell me what's the best compliment you've ever received?
It was probably, I had an annual in just last month, and I said, okay, I'm going to say something that might offend you. Is that okay? And the CFO said, I don't know what you mean. You always say stuff that offends us or that might offend us. That might not on the surface sound like a compliment, but that's why you have somebody from the outside saying the things that the team would never say, and that needs to be said. I mean, the amount of clients that I've been with over just the last 2 weeks, that the elephants in the room have come out that they just didn't talk about. I mean, it's amazing. So they're probably not direct. I feel like I don't get a lot of direct compliments, and I probably forget them because words of affirmation is not
Not your
really,
love language.
it's not my love language. But there are little things. I had a conversation with a visionary owner just this week where I sat in on one of their level 10s, their weekly meeting, and I gave him a call afterwards, and he just was really appreciative that I called and gave him some feedback. And so that's probably more. It's like the basketball you mentioned about, like coaching basketball. I've coached some high school and then my kids basketball, and when you see the growth, and there's just this feeling that you get that's so good. It's like what I actually kind of relate it to when my kids walked for the first time. Like you just have this sense of you're so proud of them for their growth. So that's maybe a perhaps long-winded or not
That's
direct
right.
answer, but
That's a great one. And
yeah,
how about a related one? What's the best advice you ever received?
maybe less advice, and it's more coaching. Is that I was uh, oh, here I've got a couple if you've got the time.
All right.
One is that I was actually talking to my coach about my relationship with my wife, and this applies to a lot of things. And she said, "You can't just tell your wife the answers. You can't fix the stuff for her. You love coaching, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I love this." Well, I don't just come in here every day that we meet and just listen to your problems and then say, "Okay, well, here's how to fix it." You have to figure it out yourself. So it sticks so much more when we figure it out ourselves, and so that's frustrating sometimes for some of my clients that probably know me more personally. They're like, "Can you just give us the answer instead of asking us questions?" It's
No,
not as meaningful.
if you just give them the answer, you're not truly loving them.
Yeah. The other one that I'm thinking about is again in coaching, and to your point about getting to this point of being an EOS implementer is I kept coming back to doing this, And, when you've been running a company for a long time, it's scary to have the thought, oh wait, I'm not going to run companies anymore. And then it's scarier to say it out loud. And then it's even scarier to take action on it. And so we kept coming back to this in coaching, and she finally said, okay, when are you going to take action? And I said, well, here's the thing. I want to be my own boss. I want to have low stress. I want to do fulfilling work. I want to make the money that I want to make. Right? And she's like, keep going, keep going. And she turns around, writing on the board, writing all this stuff down. Keep going. And I'm listing off all of the things. Like, the thing is I want all that and it doesn't exist. And she said, she turns around, puts her hands on the table and looks at me and she says, you can have it all. And inside I'm thinking, lady, you are out of your mind. This is that bull crap, do what you love thing, right? That doesn't exist. And fast forward, probably 9 months from that, and I was already the person on the other side of the table saying the same thing to everyone else. And so I'm now that person. Wait, you can have less stress, make more money, do the work you love, all of it. If you don't believe you can, of course you can't. So that's the other piece of coaching / advice.
Charlton, circle back on something you talked about earlier, and then we'll wrap it up here. Is you talked about everything of value in life takes time. How do you get clients there using EOS to understand that?
Part of it is just starting off trusting the process and just saying, look, we've done this over 28,000 companies. Just trust the process. And so getting them to just start using the tools little by little and seeing the results, right? It's just like with a fitness health program, whatever it is, all of those things that I named, you start doing it and you start to see a little bit of results. You're like, ooh, wow, that felt good. And so the way that we teach this and roll it out is that same kind of little breadcrumb way, and that you're feeling the results. We meet more frequently at the beginning of this process to kind of reinforce some of those habits. And then they end up feeling it, and then I just keep telling them, and it's the simple thing. And then, right, they run into an issue and say, let's not overthink this, let's simplify. What's the tool for this? All right, we have a people issue. I hear you guys talking about this person. We're just spinning. What's the tool for that? Oh yeah, it's that simple thing, the people analyzer. And then we use it, they see it, and like, it's just simple, right? And so it's just that reinforcing, repeating it over and over and over and over again, and then them doing it until they're living and breathing it unconsciously.
All right, well, listen, thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for taking the work that you're doing, making it incredibly personal, incredibly value for your clients. And I love the way you're using the EOS system to help clients think about what's their core focus, what's next for them, what's their purpose, cause, or passion. If you're interested in learning more about what you heard, including learning more about becoming a SecondWave advisor, please use the link in the description to visit the website, and you can receive the first few chapters of the book for free.